back to the channel for another reaction. The Amity Affliction is back at it again with the newly released single. Ladies and gentlemen, they have been probably one of my favorite bands ever since I got into modern metalcore, and they just always brought their unique style with their emotion, with their storytelling, with their songs, and with their albums. And if there's probably always been one of my top favorite bands from these guys, because I don't think there's been one bad song or one bad album, in fact, from these guys, in my opinion at least, because there's always been, you know, one of my go-to bands to go listen to some heavy music as well as some emotional stuff when I'm feeling a certain way, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, like I said, man, these guys have been insane over the past album cycle or so. Last album is probably one of my favorite ones from them, you know. It's just because it's probably one of the heaviest albums they've ever created also, which is another reason why I love them so much, because they're going into that more hardcore route. They're going into that more kind of like borderline deathcore in a way on some of their songs, in my opinion. But I just love their heaviness. I love the way that they can do heavy songs. And it just sounds so good, man, with the emotion when Joel in his voice, as well as when Aaron used to do it those. But I don't know, I might have some opinions on this one, because for those of you that don't know, Aaron's no longer in the band. You know, I did a video covering that. For those of you that don't know, he's fully fledged left the band. You know, he's no longer with them. I don't know what the whole situation behind it was, but I know he has been dealing with, you know, some depression, some, like, you know, personal issues that he's been going on behind the scenes. Stuff like that. So I don't know the whole situation. I don't know if he got like into like argument with the band or the band members, so they decided to kick him out, or he just left on his own, you know, accord. I don't know the whole situation, but you know, it is sad to say, you know, Aaron was probably one of like the forefronts of the band, you know, from back in the day. Probably only the original founding member of the band from back in the day. To see him go is, you know, such a sad thing to see. You know, a lot of these band members, you know, have their struggles, have their issues. You know, things change, things happen in their life. You know, sometimes they need that time off to collect for themselves. To being on the roads for so many years, you know, it could just weigh down on a person. But like I said, man, I hope Aaron gets the thought and prayers that he deserves, and gets, you know, the help that he needs as well. But it's also a sad thing to say too, because, you know, when Joel was struggling with the same sort of issues, you know, with during their you know, This Could Be Heartbreak album, he was struggling with the same, you know, depression, same, you know, emotional, you know, thoughts and stuff like that. So you know, they stood around him during that period of the time. But when he was going through that stuff, I believe he's okay now. But like now that Aaron's going through it, it's kind of a weird thing that they're not, you know, supporting him the same way that they did with Joel. So I don't know, it is a fishy thing. It is like, you know, kind of like, you know, stab in the back, in my opinion. But, you know, I don't know the full details, like I said, but, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully Aaron, you know, is doing okay, but I'm teasing that he's coming out with some new solo stuff in the near future, so you might have to stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, but the Amity Affliction is back. They did replace Aaron with a new singer. I don't know if he's a long-term friend of the band. I don't know if they just looked for someone else in a previous band to cover his spot for now. I don't know, but a lot of you have been saying that he does okay. A lot of you saying he actually does well with this new kind of like era that they're going into. We're reading some of the comments on, like, you know, like the teasers and stuff like that, saying you're saying it's pretty good. So I haven't heard anything yet, so we're just gonna be the first time for me. So this will be the first time hearing me for this new singer for my ears. So we're just gonna see what the hype's all about and see if he can hold up as Aaron used to do. You know, but nothing's gonna replace Aaron. He's always gonna have that, you know, iconic, you know, clean voice to him. He's always gonna have that unique tone in his voice. So, you know, hopefully he doesn't replace him too much, but, you know, Aaron will always live on in our memories and in the past tracks as well. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get right into it. But before we get started, be sure to comment, I appreciate it, and it's really helping me out. And if you like the Amity Affliction just as much as I do, be sure to like on this video as well. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by, checking out some awesome videos. We're just getting started on these heavy bangers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. It's Amity Affliction's newest release track titled All That I Remember. Ooh! Is that heaviness? Oh yeah! Still got the same energy. Woo! Love the double bass. Let's go, boys!
Cause all that I remember are golden chains draped on your
Okay.
stranger. You were no mother to me.
Woo! I can get hot though. Put back in. Oh, not the triplet chugs. Bring that groove, man. Let's go, Joel. Tell me your problems. Oh, I just love how fast it is.
Cause all that I remember are golden chains draped on your
Let's go, newbie. Show me what you got.
stranger. You were no mother to me.
Yeah, they can get really high though. Ho ho! Let's get it, boys! New age of Amity Affliction is here. Put me in! Oh yeah! Oh, down, tune it up! Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen.
Cause all that I remember are golden chains draped on stranger. You were no mother to me.
Ooh, a little break action. Back in our riff. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Amity Affliction is back. They are coming back, and they're coming back swinging, and they're coming back swinging harder like they always do. But okay, wow. Like I said, right from the start, starting off with the little piano melodies like they always usually like they tease. They do that a lot actually nowadays. Now that I think about it, I like the tease in, like they'll sneak in like a little bit of clean in there, especially with the newest album. They did that a lot with the piano melodies. Full force in. Breakdown, energy, riff style stuff, you know, with the intensity, the low tune guitars, man. I don't know what they use, but it sounds so clean. You can actually hear what they're doing. You know, a lot of these bands don't tune it so low, you can't even hear what it's sounding like. But they do. They found that sweet spot in their tunings, and it just sounds so low, but it hits so hard at the same time, man. Love it with the triplies as well. They love their double bass. They certainly love their double bass, man. It seems like every song, you know, they do the verse double bass thing, but it sounds good though. It sounds good, not gonna lie, because they, you know, it could sound the same. You know, they do it, you know, like pretty often, and like especially in their past album. But you know, they find a way to like make every song sound different. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they, even with the same pattern, you know, they find a way somehow to make every verse at least sound a little bit different. So I like them for that as well. But I like me the fast-paced riffs. I love me the fast-paced energy. Joel screaming his heart out when it comes to those verses. I love that same. It's like the iconic thing that they do now for Joel. But when they get to the chorus though side of things, you know, it's good though. It's good. It's like a lot of people saying it sounds like a little bit too generic. No, but judging by this song alone, I think it works though. I think it definitely works though. He does not sound like Aaron at all. Don't get me wrong. Aaron will always have that unique, pattern to him. I just wish, what it would sound like if he was the one singing these vocals. But but he has a very unique voice to him as well. He has like that high range that he can get pretty high. Aaron used to be able to do that for back in the day, but I know now, over the past couple years, he hasn't been able to do that sort of thing. But it is refreshing to hear them get high once again from back in the day. But either way, he does what he does. He has a clean voice to him. He has that clarity that his voice has. A lot of people are saying it sounds maybe a bit too generic, but a lot of these bands kind of sound the same in a way when they start writing the same type of song, in my opinion. But it is what it is. A lot of bands are gonna sound the same no matter what. But he kind of sounds like Corey from Wage War a little bit. Kind of has that higher aim, that higher range to him. Him and the drummer kind of look similar. I don't know if they're brothers, I don't know if they're twins, but they kind of look a little bit similar in the facial structure, as I was noticing in the video there. But I don't know what they if it is or if it isn't. But like I said, but the drum man though is always insane. I'm glad that they got this new drummer because he's just so good, man, with the power, the double bass, the fill action, the fast-paced drum beats that he can do, man. It's just insane, just talent across the board here. But overall side of things, I can see this one being a crowd pleaser. I can see this one definitely catching on to when you start learning the chorus, start learning the lyrics, and so I can definitely see people singing along to this one when it goes to like live shows and stuff like that. I don't know if this is going to be the single off the new album. I'm sure they're working on another one as we speak, but I don't know, this one might be like the single off that new album, or they might just do an EP first like they kind of did with before they released their last record. I don't know. We just have to wait and see. But I felt like this one does carry a lot of that, hardcore energy, that intensity of the riffs and the play style that the last album that they created had. So I feel like they're still going the doomy route. They're still doing like the hardcore metalcore, genre. They're still gonna keep that going for the near future. So I'm happy and appreciate that, because that album, like I said before, is probably one of my favorite albums from them, and it's definitely probably one of their best in my opinion, just because of how raw and the energy, the emotion, the different play style that they have created in that album. I feel like they're going in the right direction, and if that is the way they're going for this new album, I'm just gonna have to love it, man. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Amity Affliction is back, and they're coming back harder than ever. Like I said, there'll always be a special place in my heart for this band, because I just grew up listening to these guys over the years, and they just always became one of my favorite bands to go back and listen to from back in the day. And then when they released that, from Let the Ocean Take Me remastered album, I was super excited to see, because that was the album that actually brought me into these guys, to be honest. So I'm just super happy that they did that for the fans, at least. But it is sad to say that Aaron, is no longer with us. He is no longer with the band. But hopefully in the near future we get to see some solo stuff from him, or if he joins another band, or if he creates his own band. I don't know, we're just gonna have to wait and see on that, but I'm super excited for him over there on doing his own thing. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what more Joel and the boys are cooking up over at the Amity Affliction Studios, and coming out with some new record in the near future. So yeah, so be sure to hit that subscribe button, especially new here, because once we say a bang on our channel, you don't want to miss out on a single one. Guarantee that. And I'll see you guys in the next one.